the hacks to get through this stage as quickly as possible is collect the proof. Make sure that you start to focus on your core skills or core what you're delivering to the clients. Try and not get caught up in sending out bills through Xero, or getting caught up in the busy work, scheduling things with clients. You want to focus on, that's the mechanics. You want to focus on the core, what you can deliver. Identify what your strengths are and really focus on that. Pete will talk about core versus mechanics a little bit later, because it's one of the first things that you start to think about as you're building a team. At this point, you really want to transition. Make sure your numbers are rock solid. I mean, that was a big lesson that we learnt with Planet 13, is making sure that the numbers were rock solid and there's enough margin for error built in there. So as you start to scale, it's got the potential to go incredibly well. And you focus less on gross and more on that bottom line profit. You need to, at this point, start to pay yourself a wage. I had a mentor early on who said, even if it's something nominal, pay yourself $50 a week. Just get in the rhythm and slowly scale it. You have to be paying yourself a wage, because real businesses pay their employees. At this point, you might start to get 2 or 3 team members. You're starting to get a bit of work through and you're really starting to step a bit more off the mechanics. You're focusing, you might still be on the tools, but you kind of step back and let your team come in and handle that busy work. One of the super pro tactics that we do, and that's a photo of me just after the very first workshop that I ran way back when. It was a stock market course, and that was my business partner, Stuart McPhee. But running workshops are great. Pete talked about them. They're positive constraints. They're a great way to make sure that your ideas are clear. Make sure that you can, it's great for your team. You can help skill them up. It can become an extension product later on, so you can start to sell something that isn't so dependent on your time. There's plenty of different benefits about building a workshop, and I'll go through some of those a little bit later. Then you kind of move through to stage number 3, which is the systematic entrepreneur. Now, the systematic entrepreneur, at this point, you've started to get that good lead flow. Leads are coming in, and you're not chasing the work nearly as much at this point in time. But you are very task-driven still. We all know what this is like. You look at your to-do list and you've got 3 pages long of all of the things that you should be doing, and you're kind of checking them off, and you're like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this, and you've got a really big task list, and you're thinking about tasks rather than projects. And that's a key distinction there that we'll talk about how to make the transition. But you get that feeling like you're spinning plates. I don't know, once you have built up a few different team members, maybe once you kind of get up to it's about 7, it's hard to go more than 7 people that are reporting to you. Because once you get up to 7, it feels like you're spinning plates. So you're giving the first assistant work to do, and you pile them up, you give them a chunk off your to-do. You go to the next assistant, you give them another list of to-dos. You go to the next assistant, and by the time you get across to the 7th assistant, the first one's run out of work to do, and you've got to run back to the start and then start giving them work. And you kind of go through this staged process of trying to keep everybody busy. And what does that mean? It means you don't get any work done. So this is kind of stage 3, and oftentimes you're putting out more fires. You're sitting there, your team members are creating mess for you to go up and clean up. So you're jumping around, oh, that's not how you do it, I do it like this. Oh, don't do it like this, you need to do it like this. Oh, you need to tweak it that way. And you're putting out fires, and you think at this stage the problem to your solution is to hire more people. But it's a little bit counterintuitive. You think, oh, if I just get another person, they'll be able to lighten that load for me. But there's a few things that need to happen before you transition, otherwise you're just going to be spinning plates for the rest of your life. And this is where most people get stuck.